October 15, 1944. Three P-51 Mustangs lifted off from Bodney Airfield under a perfect English sky. The pilots, Lieutenant Daniel Garrett, Francis Holbrook, and Robert Whelan, were experienced, their planes freshly serviced. They never came back. No enemy engagement, no distress call, no wreckage. At 2:47 p.m., their radio transmissions simply stopped mid-sentence. For 2 weeks, the Army searched. Then they gave up. 3 families buried empty coffins. 65 years later, a Belgian wind farm excavation uncovered something impossible. 3 P-51 Mustangs buried 12 feet underground, arranged in a perfect defensive triangle. The pilots were still strapped in their seats. They hadn't crashed. They'd been buried. In Danny Garrett's cockpit, investigators found his skeletal hand clutching a torn journal page pressed against his ribcage. For words, written in what appeared to be his own blood. October 5, 2019. Indianapolis. Emma Garrett found the trunk in her father's attic the day of his funeral. Military green, padlocked, her grandfather's name stenciled on the side. Lieutenant Daniel Garrett, USAF. She'd never known it existed. Inside, his dress uniform, his wings, a purple heart that made no sense. He'd never come home wounded. He'd never come home at all. Beneath the medals lay a leather journal. The first entry was dated October 1, 1944, written in careful, slanted handwriting. The last entry, October 14th, one day before he disappeared, was different. Pressed hard into the page, urgent. Something's wrong with tomorrow's patrol. Route changed last minute. No explanation. We're being sent to Sector 7, which has been restricted for 2 months. The coordinates don't match any known German positions. We're not hunting anything out there. Bobby's nervous. Kid's got instincts like a cat. Says his teeth hurt, which is what he always says when something bad's coming. Someone came for our gun cameras this afternoon. Took them for maintenance. In 13 months, nobody's ever touched our gun cameras before a patrol. If something happens tomorrow, tell Margaret I. The sentence stopped mid-word. Every page after was blank, except for a photograph tucked in the back. 3 young men in flight suits, arms around each other's shoulders, grinning. Written on the back, Danny, Frankie, Bobby. October 14th, 1944. Last night at the Eagle's Nest. Her grandfather was tall, dark-haired, movie star handsome. Frankie Holbrook stood stocky and laughing. Bobby Whelan, barely 19, tried to look tough, but his eyes betrayed his fear. They'd all been scared. Emma searched online. The official record was sparse. 3 P-51 Mustangs lost over Belgium. October 15, 1944. No enemy contact reported. Presumed shot down. Search efforts unsuccessful. But buried in declassified documents, she found Colonel James Morrison's report, filed one day after they disappeared. Last radio contact at 1447 indicated no enemy engagement. Search teams found no wreckage. Recommendation: list as MIA, presume Kia. No further resources to be allocated. One day. They'd searched for one day. Then Emma found the footnote. Morrison had been investigated in 1946 for irregularities in wartime intelligence operations, but cleared. Details still classified. Her phone rang. Unknown number. Is this Emma Garrett? An elderly man's voice, paper-thin but steady. My name is Walter Holbrook. I knew your grandfather. I've been waiting 75 years for someone from his family to call. Emma's heart stopped. You're Frankie's brother. I'm 98 years old next month. I heard about your father's passing. My condolences. But Emma, there are things you need to know about what happened to them. Things I promised I'd never tell unless someone asked the right questions. What questions? The ones your grandfather was asking the night before he died. About why they were being sent to Sector 7. About what was really there. His voice dropped. Can you come to Chicago? Some things shouldn't be said over the phone. Emma looked at the photograph again. 3 young men on their last night alive. I can be there tomorrow. Good. Bring the journal. And Emma, whatever else was in that trunk, bring that too. Your grandfather was smarter than they gave him credit for. If he kept something hidden all these years, there was a reason. After Walter hung up, Emma went back to the trunk. Under the uniform, wrapped in oilcloth, she found what he meant. Her grandfather's service pistol still loaded. A map of Belgium with red marks in Sector 7. And strangest of all, a German officer's ring with an inscription she couldn't read. Trophies from kills she assumed at first. But Danny Garrett had disappeared October 15, 1944. These items were dated October 16th. Someone had put them in his trunk after he was already gone. October 6, 2019. Chicago. Walter Holbrook's room at Lakeshore Senior Living smelled like Old Spice and leather. He sat by the window in a wheelchair, and when Emma entered, she saw Frankie's face in his, aged but unmistakable. "You look like Danny," he said immediately. "Same eyes." He touched the journal with shaking hands. October 14th. I remember that date like my own birthday. Frankie called me that night from the base. 3 in the morning my time. Said they were being sent to Sector 7. Asked me to remember that if anything happened. What was in Sector 7? Officially? Nothing. Just Belgian farmland. Recently liberated. Walter pulled out his own folder. But Frankie had friends in intelligence. My brother sent me this letter October 10th, using our childhood code. The letter looked mundane, weather, food, routine military life. But Walter had penciled translations between the lines. Project ongoing. Scientists relocated. Living cargo. We thought Operation Paperclip at first, Walter said. Grabbing German researchers before the Russians could. But that wasn't it. He showed her another document from 1946. Sector 7 had been deliberately kept off Allied bombing runs since July 1944. Even when German forces moved through there, we never touched it. You were protecting something. Or someone. Walter wheeled to his closet and pulled out a photograph. An aerial view of a small compound barely visible through trees. Guard towers. Double fences. And in the corner, part of a wing with a visible serial number. Danny's plane. This was taken October 15, 1944, Walter said quietly. Your grandfather found something he wasn't supposed to see. October 15, 1944. Over Belgium. Danny, you seeing this? Frankie's voice crackled through the radio. Below them, where there should have been empty fields, sprawled a complex of buildings surrounded by double fencing. Guard towers at the corners. American vehicles in the yard. And a medical truck with Red Cross markings that had been hastily painted over. I see it, Danny replied, pulling out his camera. A Kodak anniversary present from Margaret. Bobby, maintain altitude. We're just observing. Boss, we shouldn't be here, Bobby said, his voice tight. This is way off our patrol route. He was right. They'd been flying for 90 minutes when they'd spotted smoke. Not battle smoke. Something industrial. Like burning medical waste. Danny had made the call to investigate. Through his camera lens, he could see people in the yard. Some in American uniforms. Others in white coats. And in a corner, behind another fence. Figures in striped clothing. Prisoners. Jesus Christ, Frankie breathed. Danny, those are... I know what they are. Danny's hands stayed steady on the camera, clicking frame after frame. Mark coordinates. We need to. The engine coughed. Danny. Bobby's voice went sharp. Danny, I'm losing power. Me too, Frankie said. What the hell? Danny's engine died completely. No warning. No smoke. Just sudden silence. The propeller windmilled uselessly. He tried the restart. Nothing. Tried switching fuel tanks. Nothing. All three of us. Frankie's voice was incredulous. That's impossible. But it was happening. 3 planes. 3 dead engines. All at the same instant. Danny's mind raced through the checklist even as his plane began its glide toward Earth. No engine meant no hydraulics. Limited control. Maybe 6 minutes before impact. Stay together, he ordered. Triangular formation. We're going to put these birds down in that field to the northeast. Bobby, call it in. Radio's dead too, Bobby reported, fighting panic. Of course it was. Whatever had killed their engines had killed their electronics too. They were flying dead metal through Belgian sky, and somebody below was watching. Danny pulled out his notebook, scrawling fast with hands that wanted to shake. They made US disappear. No, that was wrong. They hadn't done it yet, but they would. He tore out the page, folded it small, shoved it inside his jacket, then pulled the microfilm from his camera, wrapped it in waterproof cloth, and hid it in his boot. If they searched him, they'd find the camera. They might not check his boots. "Stay with me," he called to Frankie and Bobby. 3 sets of hands fighting dead controls, working to keep the planes level, to stay together, even as they fell. October 6, 2019. Chicago continued. "I saw them coming down," said the voice on the phone. Walter had given Emma a number. A woman in Brussels named Ilse Weber, 93 years old. 3 planes in formation, Ilse continued. No smoke, no battle damage. Like birds that had forgotten how to fly, they passed right over our position. Her voice carried across decades. I was 17 working with the resistance, documenting German movements. I wrote everything down. Time: 2:47 p.m. 3 American fighters gliding northeast. No engine sound. Pilots visible, still alive, fighting for control. That's important, Ilse said. They were alive, conscious, trying to save their planes. Where did they crash? That's the thing. They didn't crash. They landed hard but controlled. In Farmer Michel's field about 2 kilometers from the compound. I ran there with my camera. She paused. The trucks got there fast. Too fast. Like they were waiting. Did you see the pilots? Ilse's voice darkened. I saw them drag Danny from his cockpit. He was fighting them, shouting something about prisoners, about evidence. They hit him with a rifle butt. Another pause. He went down, but he was breathing. All 3 were breathing when they put them in the truck. Emma felt cold. They were alive. Very much alive. Injured from the landing, but walking, talking. Your grandfather kept saying, I have photographs. People need to know. Then the officer, a colonel I think, said something I'll never forget. Dead men don't have photographs. Emma whispered, Morrison. Yes, that was the name. Ilse's voice dropped. The trucks went to a barn about half a kilometer away. I followed through the woods. I had to know what they'd do. I could hear shouting. Danny's voice angry. Then Frankie's trying to reason. Then Bobby. Poor Bobby, just asking why. Then gunshots. 3 of them. Spaced out, maybe 10 seconds apart. Emma closed her eyes. But that's not the end, Ilse continued. An hour later, I saw them bringing the bodies back out. And Emma, they were putting them back in the planes, strapping them into their cockpits. I realized they were going to bury them, make it look like they'd crashed and been hidden. No bullet wounds would show on remains after years underground. But that journal page. Your grandfather was clever. When they dragged him from his plane, I saw him shove something into his jacket. I think he wrote those words during the landing, when he knew they were being brought down deliberately. His last act of defiance. Emma flew to Brussels, met Ilse in person, a woman whose teenage courage had preserved the truth for 75 years. Ilse handed her an envelope, yellowed with age. October 16, 1944, an American intelligence officer gave me this. Said to keep it safe. Said someday someone would come asking about the 3 pilots. Inside was a single typed sheet. Subject: Operation Prometheus. Classification: Ultra Secret. Date: October 1, 1944. Phase 1 complete. German medical research personnel successfully extracted and relocated to Facility 7. Cooperation achieved through leverage, their families held in adjacent compound. Phase 2 initiating. Research to continue under American supervision. Initial subjects acquired from liberated camps. Cover story treating survivors. Reality, continuing German immunity and enhancement studies under U.S. control. Risk assessment, 3 pilots from 357th showing unusual interest in sector. Garrett asking questions about restricted zones. Recommend permanent solution if they investigate. Authorization J. Morrison, Colonel, U.S. Army Intelligence. Emma's hands shook. They were experimenting on Holocaust survivors. Using Nazi doctors to do it, Ilsa confirmed. Your grandfather found the proof, and they killed him for it. In Danny's journal, Emma had found a key hidden in the binding. A small brass key with a number engraved on it. Swiss banking. Safety deposit box. With Ilsa's help, Emma traveled to Zurich. The bank was old money incarnate. Marble, brass, hushed voices where fortunes older than countries slept. Hans Muller was waiting. My grandfather helped yours establish this account in September 1944. We've been maintaining it ever since. For 75 years. He led them to the oldest vault. Box 447. Emma's key turned smoothly despite the decades. Inside, 3 reels of microfilm, a sealed envelope, and a Colt .45 with 1 bullet missing. The microfilm flickered to life on Muller's reader. Documents. Hundreds of them. Transfer orders for German medical personnel signed by Morrison. Agreements for continued research under American supervision. Lists of test subjects identified only by numbers, with a notation, sourced from liberated camps, told they're receiving treatment. The second reel showed photographs. The compound from every angle. Medical facilities. And then the horror, emaciated figures on operating tables. American doctors observing while German researchers worked. One photo showed Morrison himself, watching through observation glass as someone operated on a skeletal child. Your grandfather got inside, Ilsa breathed. How? The third reel answered. Danny's handwritten report. September 30th, 1944. Made contact with intelligence officer who claims Morrison is running unauthorized operation. Gave me camera press credentials. Says he needs proof before he can act. October 14th, 1944. They're going to kill us tomorrow. I know it. Hidden evidence with Swiss account. Walter knows about it. If something happens, everything's here. Emma opened the envelope. Inside was a list of names. American officials. Some she recognized from history books, senators, generals, future cabinet members. All connected to Operation Prometheus. This is why they're still scared, Emma said. Some of these families are still in power. They came for Emma in Belgium. Men in tactical gear with no identification. But they weren't alone. An old man emerged from the shadows, 97 years old, moving carefully but with purpose. Dr. Theodore Blackwood, Emma said, raising the pistol Ilsa had given her. You ran the experiments. I observed them, he corrected quietly. And I've been dying for 3 years. Slow cancer. Poetic justice. He held up his hands. I was the one who helped your grandfather. Fed him information. Arranged the Swiss account. This bunker. Morrison had my family, he continued, his voice heavy with decades of guilt. My wife. My children. There was always an implied threat. So yes, I kept working. But I also kept copying files. Building a case that would destroy everyone involved. He pulled out a USB drive. Everything's digitized now. Names, dates, financial records showing the program never ended. It just got better at hiding. Why should I trust you? Because I'm dying and I've outlived almost everyone from Prometheus. Morrison, the other doctors, the administrators. But their children are still in power. Senators, CIA directors, federal judges, all protected by the secret their fathers killed to keep. Car engines approached. Multiple vehicles. They found us, Ilsa said. Blackwood smiled sadly. I told them where we were. I had to. They have my granddaughter. 13 years old. He showed Emma a video on his phone. A terrified girl in what looked like a warehouse. But I'm not that brave or that stupid. He pressed something on his phone. I just uploaded everything to 50 different news outlets, WikiLeaks, and a dozen foreign intelligence services. It's done. In 1 hour, the whole world will know about Operation Prometheus. Men in tactical gear dropped in, weapons drawn, shouting commands. But also, in the distance, Belgian police cars, news vans. Someone had tipped off the media. "My grandfather was murdered," Emma shouted before they could silence her. Lieutenant Danny Garrett, killed by his own country for discovering Operation Prometheus. The cameras swung toward her. They couldn't disappear her on live television. Within hours, it was everywhere. Leaked documents about Operation Prometheus. American experiments on Holocaust survivors. The cover-up. The murders. Danny Garrett's photograph, young and handsome in his pilot's uniform, appeared on every news channel. But Emma discovered something else. Something Blackwood revealed in his final confession. October 15, 1944. The barn near Sector 7. After they'd shot the pilots, Morrison stood over Danny's body and leaned close, even though Danny was already dying. "You want to know the truth, Garrett? The real truth? This program started before the war. Americans and Germans working together on eugenics research. We didn't capture these doctors. We invited them." Danny's hand had twitched, fingers scraping in his pocket. Morrison didn't notice, but Dr. Blackwood did. He saw Danny pull out one last thing, a small metal capsule, the kind intelligence used for microfilm. Danny's dying eyes met his. "Please." Blackwood had taken it, hidden it, added it to the Swiss account, evidence that even Morrison didn't know Danny had carried. When Emma opened that final capsule, she found proof. Film of Morrison meeting with German doctors in 1938. 5 years before the war. The collaboration hadn't started in 1944. It had started in the 1930s. American eugenics programs had inspired Nazi race laws. Then both sides had continued the research together, in secret while publicly becoming enemies. 3 pilots had died to expose something that went deeper than anyone imagined. November 11, 2019. Arlington National Cemetery. The ceremony was everything the government could orchestrate. Flags. Honor Guard. 21-gun salute. The president spoke about duty and sacrifice. Called them exemplars of American courage. Emma stood with the families, wearing her grandfather's wings. When it was her turn to speak, she walked to the podium and looked at 3 flag-draped coffins containing the mixed remains of 3 boys who died holding hands. She'd prepared a speech about heroism. Instead, she said, "My grandfather was 24 years old when he was murdered by his own country for refusing to stay silent about war crimes. He wasn't a hero. He was a young man who loved his pregnant wife and wanted to come home. But when he found something evil, he couldn't look away." Gasps from the crowd. Officials started moving toward her. Frankie Holbrook was 25. He married his girlfriend 2 days before he died because he knew he was going to be killed. Bobby Whelan was 19. He threw up from fear before they executed him. But he still held his friends' hands as they died. Security tried to cut her microphone, but the sound tech, a young veteran, kept it on. "They want you to believe these men died as patriots." They did. But patriotism isn't blind obedience. Sometimes it's standing up to your own country when it's wrong. She pulled out the capsule containing the 1938 evidence. This proves the American government was collaborating with Nazi doctors before the war. That Operation Prometheus wasn't a rogue program, but official policy approved at the highest levels. Security moved in, but she spoke faster. They died singing. 3 boys holding hands in their cockpits, singing their squadron song as lethal injections stopped their hearts. That's not heroism. That's tragedy. They pulled her from the podium, but every camera had caught it. Every phone had recorded it. Within minutes, it was viral. As they escorted her out, she stopped at the 3 coffins and placed her hand on Danny's flag. "I told them, Grandpa. The whole world knows now." The investigations took years. Some officials faced charges. Most escaped through legal technicalities or death. But 17 other similar disappearances were uncovered. 17 other pilots who'd asked the wrong questions. Sarah Whelan, Bobby's granddaughter, led a class action lawsuit that dragged through courts for a decade. Elizabeth Holbrook, Frankie's secret widow, lived just long enough to see her husband's name cleared. She died at 97, whispering his name. Emma joined the special prosecutor's office. Spent years fighting for incomplete justice, which was still better than complete silence. On Veterans Day, she visits Arlington. Stands at the grave that holds 3 names: Daniel Garrett, Francis Holbrook, Robert Whelan. They flew home together. She thinks about their final moments. Not the execution or the burial, but before that. October 14, 1944. The Eagle's Nest Pub. 3 boys who knew they would die the next day. Who could have deserted, could have stayed silent, could have chosen survival. Instead, they chose each other. Chose truth. Chose to die holding hands rather than live with shame. Danny had written in his journal, in ink before he switched to blood, "Tomorrow I die for something I believe in. Not country, not flag, but the simple truth that some things are wrong no matter who does them. I'm not brave. I'm terrified. But Frankie says courage isn't the absence of fear. It's doing what's right despite the fear. We're going to die holding hands, looking at each other, refusing to let them make us disappear alone. That's our resistance." Emma stands in the November cold and sings softly. The squadron song Dr. Blackwood remembered. Silver wings in morning light. Carry me home through endless night. When my flying days are done, I'll chase no more the morning sun, but rest with brothers duty done. Until the morning comes again, and silver wings fly home. 3 boys had died singing those words, drugged and terrified but trying to be brave for each other. They'd been erased from history for 75 years. But they weren't disappeared anymore. They were remembered. They were named. They were home. And in the end, that was the victory. Not justice that remained incomplete, imperfect, frustrating. But memory, truth, acknowledgement. 3 boys who refused to let go of each other, even in death. Who died with their eyes open and their voices raised. Who proved that sometimes the greatest act of patriotism is standing up to your own country when it's wrong. Danny Garrett, Francis Holbrook, Robert Whelan. October 15, 1944. They were here. This story is fiction, but Operation Paperclip was real. Between 1945 to 1959, the United States recruited over 1,600 German scientists, engineers, and technicians, including some with Nazi ties. The moral complexity of that program, and the secrets kept to protect it, echoes through history. The pilots in this story represent the countless individuals throughout history who discovered uncomfortable truths and paid the price for their conscience. May we remember them. May we honor them. May we have their courage when our time comes.